All right, people. So, what are your views on the approved development earmarked for the Bengal beach? This is a near 1 billion Jamaican dollars, a major development that is set to take place according to the media outlet near the coastline in this area. Now, according to this article, it indicates that approval was granted by NEPA and other regulatory bodies. Now, people, if it's a case I've been following me for quite a while, you will notice that I'm a person who is also centered around geo. When I look at these images, I see whereby the Bengal beach is near to where the Rio Bueno outlets into the sea. Now, what also grabs my attention is the mere fact that I'm seeing how the landscape is warped. And people, if it's a case that you are not familiar, what that says to me is that there basically is at least one major fault that pretty much trends the direction whereby the river pretty much outlets into the sea. So when it comes to now me seeing that it is said that approval was granted by NEPA and other regulatory bodies, my first question is the earthquake unit also included as a regulatory body for development of this nature? Because at the end of the day, there are at least two major fault zones that I can identify just by looking at this terrain map. Second thing now is it a case that there is full transparency as regards to the safety parameters from a geotechnical or from an engineering point of view that are put in place to ensure that the people who will be investing in a development of this nature, saying that they can be fully convinced by them also, let's just say, running by their plans to invest in the property through, let's just say, another opinion from a professional source. Is it a case that the document that will earmark or will revolve around the geotechnics and the overall engineering plan for this development will also be available to the benefit of those whom will be invested in this property? Because, quite frankly, if you're going to be telling me that, yes, it is safe for me to build or rather to purchase on this land, I must know that there at least can be the data provided whereby I can then run it through my own private and or personal professional sources to vet it. And if this is not the case, then this is something that we here in Jamaica must work on. Quite frankly, I'm going to tell you straight. If it's a case that you decide to invest in properties that are being erected across sections of Jamaica, such as this here, and let's just say you are unaware about what are the parameters, safety parameters in place, you do have a right to ask. You understand? And just the same, the development entity or the owners of the entity should, to an extent, provide some form of visibility to build that trust in the market. Because again, as I said, if there are two major fault zones, one, and secondly, we're talking about development nearby coastline where we're talking about salt water that can come into contact with the foundation, as an example. Then when you think about those parameters alone, what does this mean in terms of maintenance? You know what I mean? In terms of ensuring that when it comes to the flood risk of potentially the Rio Bueno when it's in flood, and or we talk about the reality that if it's a case that we're talking about a degree of movement of the fault, how will that interfere with the foundation? All of the questions need to be asked and also need to be answered.